Good morning, Jean, and welcome to your running warm-up. We're going to take about 12 minutes to warm up your body, get your breath ready, get your motivation ready, and you're going to head out the door for your 8-minute jog south, and then your 8-minute or so jog back home. Great way. 3 times a week. It's so impressive that you're willing to give this a go, and you've already made such progress. It's really impressive. So we're going to get started on the floor. We're going to do most of the exercises in what I call a deep breath cycle, where your inhale and your exhale, which take, if you're really deeply inhaling through your nose and then exhaling, bellowing out all the carbon dioxide through your mouth, that breath cycle takes about 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. So cat camels is the first exercise we're going to do down on the floor in quadruped. So you can go ahead and drop to the floor on your rug and make sure that your knees and your hips are lined up vertically. Make sure that your hands and your shoulders are lined up vertically. And then the cat, of course, is the scared cat, where you drop your head like a bowling ball and round up your spine. And that's your inhale. As you're exhaling, bellowing all that air out, you revert to the camel, where you lift your head and your chest. You feel that pull a little bit, maybe in the front of your chest, and you contract the lower back. And then continue for 5 breaths. So 5 whole breaths. Inhale, exhale, that's 1. Inhale, exhale, that's 2. You want to move slowly and deliberately. And the more air that you can get into your body, the more oxygen that you can get into your system, that's more oxygenated blood that's going to be sent out, pumped out to the muscles that are going to be working overtime as you pitter-patter in conversational pace without a conversational buddy, unfortunately for both of us, during the times that I'm not with you. But you will be able to, you're going to pick this up really easily without me there. You're going to know exactly what that pacing feels like, because we've done it several times now. And the distance is going to basically be the same, because you are going to exit your apartment building. You're going to walk over to the road, to the river, and run south for 8 minutes to the bathrooms, and then run back. Okay, now we're going to go into dynamic dogs, and that is the combination of downward dog and upward facing dog for 10 repetitions. And the 10 repetitions also aligns with the deep breath cycle, where you lift up into downward facing dog and take a deep breath, and then as you exhale, you move, and then pause and inhale back to downward facing dog. So from downward facing dog, where your butt is high in the air, you make a triangle with the floor. Your upward facing dog is then the contraction of your lower back and your hips shifting in between your hands with your legs parallel and straight, but parallel to the floor. So back to downward facing dog and then to upward facing dog. This can be somewhat cardio oriented. I elevate my heart rate in the morning time when I do this exercise, and I don't know if I've ever told you, I think I have, I do everything 21 times for the 5 Tibetans. So I do 21 dynamic dogs every single morning, and my heart rate always gets up a little bit, but it's a really positive feeling to me to know that I can stretch the back out and lift the butt up high, stretch the calves in the back of the leg out, and then into upward facing dog, where you can contract the lower back and then stretch the front in like a cobra position as well. Okay, now we're going to drop down to the elbow plank. So your forearm basic plank, you're going to do again for deep breath cycles, 10 deep breath cycles, which is going to take about 30 seconds. So you're on your elbows and your shoulders line up, and now you're holding your position on the balls of your feet and your toes for 10 deep breaths. And again, remembering that you inhale through your nose, smell the air around you, and then bellow the carbon dioxide out through your mouth to the extent that you can get all of that counting and focus on the quality of the breathing in is still probably a little bit tricky. So I'm going to tell you right now, you've got 10 seconds left to go to make that 30-second mark. And you'll get used to the counting part, even if you don't use this podcast every single time that you're going out for a run. Okay, now rest in child's pose. and take a couple of deep breaths here. Remember, with child's pose, you're compressing your haunch, a term of art, term of science that is really more of a term of art nowadays because nobody uses it anymore, where you have that, it's the combination of glute and femur, the area of your pelvis and the legs where they contract in order to generate a significant amount of energy. And so you're sitting your butt on top of your heels and then draping your torso over your quads in order to ensure that you are stretching out the spine completely, stretching out your shoulders, and taking those deep breaths along the way. Now from here, turn your body over. We're going to be in hip bridge for about 30 seconds, and then you're going to be on your feet for the rest. So in hip bridge, which is an exercise we will always do in preparation for an activity such as running. Again, I do these every single morning as well. You lie on your back, your hands are beside your body, your feet are flat on the floor because your knees are bent, and you want to make sure that your ankles and your knees line up vertically when you lift up. So you want to back your feet up as close to your butt as you need to make sure that that happens. And then just keep your toes down. You want to grip the floor with your entire foot so that you don't have transference of pressure to your lower back, which is what happens when your toes come up in the air. And then you drop your body and you lift up. So inhale down, exhale up for 10 deep breaths, roughly, again, 30 seconds. Or you could do 20 repetitions if you want to move a little bit faster. Your call, but your 30 seconds is about a third of the way over. So we'll just hold you, keep you, continue through this this cycle here with a 30-second time, a time limit. And you've got 10 more seconds to go, but remember to inhale as you lower your body down, exhale as you lift back up. Think about how those hip flexor muscles, one of the most important and the most neglected muscles in your body, is the hip flexor. And the reason it's so important is because it connects not just your torso to your legs, because your glutes also do that, but it connects, it's really internal at its insertion point in your spine at the, I think it's the lumbar 4 and 5 level. And then it connects and sort of wraps around, almost like drapes around the spine and then down to the femur over top of the pelvis. So it's a really important muscle group in terms of your functional capabilities, which is why it's so important to running. All right, now stand up, because the next thing we're going to do is that forward lunge with your arm lift over your head. And that, again, reinforces the notion of fully elongated and healthy hip flexors. You take a big step forward with your right leg, bend both knees to 90 degrees. As you do that, your arms come up over your head, and then you step back. 5 on each leg. Make sure that with the front knee, that your knee doesn't go past the tips of your toes. And try to keep your feet straight. So it's a little bit of a balance exercise, lunging, but also it's just a really great dynamic way to make sure that your heart rate is lifting a little bit, you're elevating your heart rate so you're getting some of that oxygenated blood moving around, and you're interacting with gravity. And then it also warms up the glutes quite a bit, this exercise. Okay, now we're going to really get your heart rate up with 15 seconds of high knee jogging and then butt kicks. I have on the right up 10 deep breaths for both of these, for each of these. So again, these are going to be a little bit shorter breaths, but you're going to jog in place with your knees coming up high to activate your glutes. All right, you're going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to finish with the lunge matrix, the balance exercise, the forward reach, and then the lunge matrix. So again, it can get you out the door around the 12-minute mark here. I don't really want to go past that, if not at all too much, so that you have time to get home and get showered and get ready for work. All right, now your butt kicks, where you activate those hamstrings, where you're kicking, you're jogging in place, and you're just kicking the heel of your feet, heels of your feet back up to try and kick your butt. 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now the balance exercise is the forward reach, and that is an exercise. We did it this morning, in fact, actually, where you stabilize your weight on your right leg and then reach down with your left fingertips as your left leg extends back. So you're just on your right leg. And if you can touch the floor, that's great. But as soon as you start to feel real wobbly, switch directions. And then you have to use the stability and strength of the right butt cheek to right your torso. That's why you keep your back straight, so that you don't use your back to lift your body back up, but you concentrate that effort in your glute there. 3 repetitions for each side. So your right leg, 1, 2, 3, and then the left leg, 1, 2, 3. Now, your left leg balance is not as good as your right leg balance, which is normal. So just take your time with your left leg. Make sure that you're breathing. Make sure that you're staring at maybe one spot on the floor. That's helpful in terms of balancing. And you should feel, I feel the sort of a level of heat, the temperature rising in my feet and up my shin and calf when I do this exercise. I find it really, really fascinating. And a lot of that, you might, because I don't wear high heels, maybe because you wear high heels, you won't feel this quite as much. But since I'm always in sneakers or, loafers or whatever, I tend to have I think more dormant foot muscles maybe. Okay, the last thing is the lunge matrix. So step out with the right leg, bend the right knee, and we'll finish on this here where you touch your toes, then stretch up, bend down to one side, and then the other, and then twist to the right, and then twist to the left with your arms at chest level, and then switch legs. We're hitting that 12-minute mark here. So the left knee is bent and forward now, the right leg is back and straight, and you bend down and touch your toes, and then stretch up real tall, bend down to the right, then to the left, and then as you drop your arms to chest level, you twist to the right, twist to the left really fast. Let's do that lateral version as well. So now the left leg is straight out to the side, your right knee is bent into that lateral lunge position, touch your toes, stretch up, bend down to the right, and then the left, then twist to the right with arms at chest level, twist to the left, and then just shimmy up and over to a left knee bent with the right leg straight. So you should feel the stretch of the inner thigh on the right leg. Touch your toes one last time, and then stretch up, bend to the right, and then the left, and then twist to the right, and twist to the left. Take a deep breath, put on your shoes, don't pass go, head right out the door, unless you have to pee, in which case, of course, you have to do that. But head out the door, have a great run, time yourself, remember to stay light on your feet. Remember, you can talk to yourself. It's fine if you need to talk to yourself a little bit to stay conversational pace, but remember, take it easy. You have 8 minutes down, 8 minutes back, and I will see you very soon. Let me know if you have any questions.